Welcome to Hidden Squidz Gaming. Today we're going to go kind of different, where I'm going to show you two technically different party compositions, but it's only going to be substituting out one character, and we're going to see the massive changes that can occur with that. My first party here is going to be obviously the Hellion, the Leper, Jester, and Vestal. Some of the strengths of this party is definitely massive damage within the front row. There's a designated healer, a designated stress healer, and also the row versatility is decent. Some of the cons of this party though is you can't move people, there's zero blight, which taking into the ruins was a terrible choice. I'm going to consider this a weakness, but there is a leper, which means the accuracy may not always be there, which means one of your damage dealers may miss occasionally, which can really hurt your progression in a fight. I know I talked over this first fight, but I wrapped it up so quick I decided there wasn't much to talk about with the party composition here. Obviously we started off with the Iron Swan, and then we moved to the other two individuals. It was very easy. This was an apprentice level, or level 1, which means none of my heroes' resolves are over resolve 2. Therefore, we don't have the second tier of abilities. That first fight was rather easy. This surprise definitely helped because we were able to take care of the couple of stress dealers in the back, and also take care of the ones in the front who did less damage overall. I overall like this party, and now we're going to fight the Collector. Now what stings about the Collector is I didn't surprise him, and I didn't have a lot of stuns. That went fast enough. There is the Barbaric Yelp and the Vestal who can stun, but obviously didn't get a chance to go before the Collector decided to do Collect Call. I'm going to start off with just doing some damage onto the Collector since I didn't get a chance to, because I do have a decent amount of other row versatility where I can take out a couple of these individuals. Now that I brought the Collector forward, I can harvest. You can begin to see the row versatility of this party and how well it can hit all rows and interact well with each other. The Vestal has a stun increase % on, therefore I was chancing it on the Collector because I don't want the Collector to go again. I want to take care of the ads and keep the Collector stunned, without having one of my damage doers doing the stunning. As we all know, the highwaymen on the Collector are very painful, but we have to deal with it. That's why I focus. I know he's already bleeding, but they do the most damage. But I do have the Leper focus the other guy just because that highwayman will be dead soon. Early game Collectors can be devastating if you don't really know how to handle them well, because the first fight you don't really know what to expect. Luckily for me, I had a very good party composition to handle a Collector at all stages of the game, not just the first level one. I also had pretty good trinkets on that allowed me to do some more damage and criticals. Your early party compositions definitely will not have these level trinkets, but I just want to show the overall party composition and how this could be used within all dungeons. If you're later in the game, you're still going to have to come back to apprentice level dungeons once in a while to upgrade people. Even if you don't lose anybody, if you complete the darkest dungeon, you're going to have those 4 people saved on your roster and 4 more new positions open. Therefore, if you can't get all level 3s or all level 4s if you're playing on Radiant, you may not be able to always have a good party ready in your backup. Therefore, you might have to take some lower resolves into dungeons like this. And it's funny, but we can sometimes forget how to play weaker parties well, because we're so used to our strong damage, our strong abilities, our max abilities, and our max trinkets. A note in Collector fights, obviously if the Collector dies, the rest of the highwaymen do. Therefore, sometimes focus firing the Collector right at the end is the best thing you can do. And unfortunate I didn't dodge there, because if you dodge the lifesteal, he obviously can't lifesteal. This party did fairly well against the Collector even for being an early game. And I am going to take this chance to heal because I just want to get some of that HP back, because it is earlier level abilities. You can't always heal as fast, and I didn't really bring along enough food to do that. Another lifesteal, but this time it's a dodge, therefore he's not going to receive the heals, which was fortunate on my end. Now I'm just going to try to get rid of the other individuals so they don't do more damage to me. I'm even going to use Soul Anemone because once again, the Collector is going to die. I just wanted to get some more health back. Same thing with the Vestal. I just stunned them to stun them. I could have technically attacked, but I was just kind of messing around at this point because I wasn't sure if I would maybe miss on the Collector or if the Vestal would go first. I just thought it'd be easier to stun both and just call it a day. I'm only going to show 3 fights because the collector added a little more time than I would have liked, but at least you got to see this party fight a regular party, a collector, and once again now we get another surprised party, which makes these fights a little easier in my favor. If you get any trinkets or campfire abilities that help you surprise monsters, always do it. If you can set up how you want your fight to go, it's almost always better because obviously you can take care of a key damage dealer, get a key buff used, without necessarily having the enemy go out of turn on you. And as I said before, a party composition error in this place was taking along a couple of bleed individuals into skeletons. Not exactly thinking too well on that end, but I didn't have a lot of choices because these were my low resolve characters, and there's only one apprentice dungeon available to me. But if you have a lot of apprentice dungeons available to you, and you have a lot of resolve levels, I'd highly recommend maybe taking some of those bleed skills off and replace them with individuals so you can do more raw damage or more blight damage. Not to say you obviously can't do dungeons well with bleed on in the ruins, because as you see I've done fairly well with them on, but it's just one of those things just to make sure your skills get their maximum effectiveness. Maybe think about changing that. With this fight almost wrapping up, I'm going to explain what the next portion of the video is going to be. My second party is going to be almost exactly the same, but instead of having the vestal, we're going to replace that with the Crusader, and you're going to see how this whole entire party composition changes. A couple of tips of killing the crossbowmen. Pulling them into like position 1 or 2 is really beneficial because obviously they can only stab at you, not shoot you, and that's not really where they accelerate. So if you have a pool, or if you're able to kill bodies to bring them forward, it's always recommended. I'm going to talk over this fight because it's Crimson Court DLC, and if you don't have it, I don't really want to talk about it too much. Some of the pros to this party is they're excellent at damage. There's strong buffs on the Jester, who can obviously battle ballad. There's also good row attack diversity when set up correctly because the Crusader can Holy Lance and the Hellion can use Breakthrough. There's also some pretty good stress heals on this party with the Jester with obviously his Inspiring Tune and the Crusader's Inspiring Cry. Some of the cons to this party is that it will have bad attack row diversity if the party is not set up how it should be. Also, there's a couple of self debuffs on this party. When the Hellion does certain actions, she loses more speed or more damage, which means after a turn or two of technically the party setup I wanted, it starts to fall off a little bit. Also, there's no reliable heal. There is the Crusader who can do a couple, and there's also the Lepers who can heal themselves, but it's not like they can heal another individual for a lie. Surprises are, as I said in the beginning of this video, always beneficial. And I always put the Jester in the back row. He was only ever going to battle ballad and Inspiring Tune this fight because I already have enough damage. I decided to use Barbaric Yelp here because there's so much raw physical damage here. I can't have all 4 going even if I'm able to kill 1 or 2 off right away. I need at least 1 individual stunned so they can't do the max damage. Now I'm fortunate enough to kill 2 off the bat. Now I have 1 stun. So instead of 4 attacks against me, I only had 1. And it was a fortunate dodge. And then I battle ballad, so I always go before the damage dealers, which means I have a chance to do it. Now, as I said, obviously, he got to go before me, both of them, but I think that's unfortunate because I don't think their speeds are exactly that high, but I also don't have high speed individuals, which is possibly another con. Because even if with some multiple battle ballads, our speeds really aren't that much higher than the enemies, which sucks. But for the most part, by the 2nd or 3rd round, I will typically have the same speed or if not more than the enemy, which will allow me to go first in most cases. As I said before, my lineup is very important. I always have to remember to shuffle my party back into the position I want them to be in. Now, something I could have done possibly better in this party, and I messed it up at the end here, is that I probably should have given the Crusader more speed over the Hellion, and I didn't, which can be a huge issue coming up if I decide to use Breakthrough at improper times. We're going to start our battle ballad again. And now I'm going to Holy Lance once, trying to hit. I can't hit the 4th row the hardest, which is why that's a shame I didn't kill her, because there's no intimidation on the leper, which means he can't hit the 4th row either, which is something that maybe this party could have benefited from. Maybe I could have taken off revenge and then used intimidation to kill off that witch in the back. These are things we can constantly be improving on, because when we think about our party, we need to think about, does this party need a turn to do more damage? If you say yes, fine, keep revenge on. If no, revenge offers nothing and it should be taken off for maybe a D-stealth ability on the leper. This could have made this party much better and could have possibly saved some future stress. Now obviously the Hue ability was excellent, did a lot of damage, killed a guy and almost another. Therefore maybe I wouldn't have even used intimidation anyways. Now this is where we get into an issue. I just used breakthrough again to kill 2, but now my leper is in a weird spot, and so is my Crusader. If I Holy Lance, I kick the leper out. Now I killed the witch off, which is okay, but in the situation I still had 2 enemies alive. My leper is now in a weird position where he's not going to be able to get back to the front. We have to be very careful of that, because that could have been dangerous if the whole party didn't die. Now as I said, I was fortunate enough he did die, so I didn't have to worry about that. But we have one more fight coming up, and we need to be careful we don't repeat mistakes like that. I use my remaining shovel there because I know this is the last room with the last battle room, so I don't even have to worry about there being any other blockages. This time we don't get the surprise, and there's 4 damage dealers here, which means we're going to eat some serious damage. And this is why getting surprises is really beneficial, because I can't heal a lot of this damage, and I'm fortunate that this is my last fight and not one of my first. Now here's the problem that I just mentioned. I used breakthrough as my first ability, and look at all that damage, right? But now I mess with my party's composition. Now my Crusader either becomes full-time support, or I don't hit rows 3 and 4, and I decided to use them as heals instead. If you're wondering why I got 4 heals there, it's because I have the DLC districts on. That won't be the case in your situation, but the rest of this will be. Now I'm in a weird spot where the 3rd position isn't going to be able to be hit well, and if I do this, I decide to obviously say the leper can't hit anyways, but I didn't take Iron Swan on, which means the bleed out ability probably could have been Iron Swan, which is once again another thing I could have improved. Whenever I do new party compositions, I always have to think about, where my parties might end up, which abilities are actually going to be good, and that's why I like making these videos for myself. You can begin to see where your parties were lacking, which skills were just unnecessary or even useless, like the revenge on the leper. Unless I was taking this into a boss fight where I needed that massive damage boost, for a low level resolve like this, it just wasn't worth it. And now you're seeing our attack row diversity absolutely deplete after my party composition isn't set up completely. Thank you for watching. I hope you kind of liked how a party can change with just one character. Like and subscribe below.